It was a quiet evening. The rain was falling softly outside. Emily and John were sitting close on the couch. They had been dating for a year now. Their love was strong. Today, the rain made everything feel magical. John looked at Emily. Her eyes sparkled like stars. He smiled and took her hand. "I love the sound of the rain," Emily said softly. "It reminds me of our first date." John remembered that day too. They had walked in the park. It had started raining, and they had laughed as they ran for cover. Now they were older, but the love was the same. The rain outside felt like a gift. They were alone in the house, with nothing to do but enjoy each other's company. Suddenly, the lights went out. "Oh no," Emily said, laughing. "The storm must have cut the power." John lit a candle. Its warm glow filled the room. The sound of the rain grew louder. "We can't go out now," John said, smiling. "Looks like we're stuck here." Emily laughed. "I guess so," she said. "But I don't mind." They sat closer. The candlelight flickered, casting soft shadows on the walls. The rain drummed on the roof, and everything felt calm. John put his arm around Emily. She rested her head on his shoulder. They could feel the warmth between them. Outside, the storm was growing stronger. The wind howled, and the trees swayed, but inside the house, everything was peaceful. "I love you," John whispered in her ear. His voice was soft, full of emotion. Emily turned to face him. Her eyes were full of love. "I love you too," she said, her voice barely a whisper. They kissed, slow and tender. The world outside didn't matter. It was just the two of them, lost in the moment. John brushed a strand of hair from Emily's face. Her skin was soft under his fingers. She smiled at him, her heart full of love. The rain continued to pour outside. It was as if the storm had come just for them, to give them this moment together. They spent the evening talking about everything. Their future, their dreams, their love. The storm outside kept them inside, but neither of them minded. As the rain fell, their hearts grew closer. The storm had brought them even closer, and their love felt stronger than ever. Hours passed, but they didn't care. The rain kept falling, but inside the house it was warm and safe. John pulled Emily closer, feeling the warmth of her body. They were together, and that was all that mattered. The night went on, the rain tapping gently on the windows, and their love grew even deeper. The rain outside was relentless, pouring harder with each passing hour. Emily and John remained close, their hearts beating as one. The candlelight flickered, casting a soft glow over their faces. John gently took Emily's hand, his thumb tracing small circles on her skin. "Do you remember our first kiss?" he asked, his voice low and full of warmth. Emily smiled, her cheeks flushing with the memory. "Of course I do," she said softly. "It was under the old oak tree, after the school dance." John grinned, remembering the nervous excitement he'd felt. "I was so scared you wouldn't kiss me back," he admitted, laughing. Emily laughed too, the sound light and sweet. "I was waiting for it all night," she teased, giving him a playful nudge. "You took forever." John's eyes sparkled as he leaned in closer, his lips brushing against hers once again, just like that first time. The kiss was soft and gentle, filled with the same tenderness as all those years ago. Outside, the rain drummed harder against the roof. The world seemed to fade away, leaving only the sound of their hearts beating in sync. They were wrapped in each other, lost in the warmth of their love. As the night grew darker, the storm raged on. The wind howled, but inside, everything was calm and quiet. Emily rested her head on John's chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "This feels like a dream," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain. "I never want it to end." John tightened his hold on her, his arms wrapping around her protectively. "It doesn't have to end," he said softly. "We have forever." Emily closed her eyes, feeling safe in his embrace. The sound of the rain was soothing now, like a lullaby sung just for them. The storm outside might have been fierce, but inside they were in their own little world. As the hours passed, they talked quietly, sharing memories and dreams. The rain continued, but it no longer seemed like a force to fear. Instead, it felt like a gift, something that had brought them even closer together. John kissed the top of Emily's head. "I don't want this night to end either," he whispered. "You're everything to me." Emily smiled, her heart swelling with love. "And you're everything to me," she said, her voice full of emotion. They sat together in the dim light, wrapped in each other's warmth. The storm outside might have been strong, but their love was stronger. As the rain finally began to lighten, they fell asleep in each other's arms, the storm a distant memory. But the love they felt, the connection they shared, would last forever. The next morning the storm had passed, but the sky was still gray. Emily woke first, her eyes blinking as the soft light of dawn crept through the windows. She could still hear the gentle patter of rain, though it was much softer now. John was still asleep, his arms wrapped around her protectively. She smiled as she watched him, feeling a warmth in her chest that only grew stronger with each passing moment. She carefully slipped out of his embrace, not wanting to wake him just yet. As she stood by the window, watching the rain, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. The night had been magical, a moment in time that she would never forget. The rain had brought them closer than ever, and she knew, deep in her heart, that their love was unbreakable. John stirred, his eyes slowly opening. He smiled when he saw Emily standing by the window, her figure bathed in the soft morning light. "Good morning," he said, his voice still thick with sleep. He stretched and stood up, walking over to her. Emily turned to face him, her smile brightening. "Good morning," she said softly. John wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. They stood there for a while, watching the rain together. "I love you," John whispered, his lips brushing against her ear. "I love you too," Emily replied, leaning back into him, feeling the warmth of his body against hers. They didn't need to say anything else. The rain, the love, the quiet morning, it was all perfect. Later that day, the rain had finally stopped. The world outside was wet and fresh, the air filled with the scent of rain and earth. Emily and John decided to go for a walk, hand in hand, through the quiet streets. The puddles reflected the gray sky, and the trees dripped with leftover rainwater. Everything felt peaceful, as if the storm had washed away all the worries of the world. As they walked, John squeezed Emily's hand. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice serious but gentle. Emily glanced at him, curious. About what? John stopped walking and turned to face her. "About us," he said. "About how much I love you and how I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She looked up at him, her eyes wide with surprise and love. John took a deep breath. "Emily," he said, his voice full of emotion, "will you marry me?" Emily felt tears well up in her eyes. She hadn't expected this, but it felt right. Everything felt perfect in that moment: the rain, the love, the man standing before her. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling with joy. "Yes, I will marry you." John smiled, his eyes shining with happiness. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her, right there in the middle of the quiet, rain-soaked street. It was the perfect ending to their rainy love story. The storm had brought them closer than ever, and now their future together was as bright as the sun that was just beginning to break through the clouds.